Moin, Freunde, was geht, was geht? Sorry, dass ich mich nicht sofort dazu gemeldet habe. Ich glaube, ich das erste Mal seitdem Karmesin Purpur Infos rausgekommen sind, dass ich mich nicht instant gemeldet habe. Letzte Tage war ein bisschen stressig. Aber wir wollen uns heute vom guten Serebi, vom guten Joe, wollen wir uns das Gameplay anschauen, was rauskam zu Karmesin Purpur, denn da wurde Gameplay aufgenommen. Ein paar Leute wurden eingeladen zur Pokémon Company, um dort Pokémon Karmesin Purpur anzuspielen. Die durften leider allerdings nichts dort filmen und haben alle dasselbe Material zur Verfügung gestellt bekommen, was sie zeigen durften. Ich habe super viel schon Tweets und so weiter darüber gesehen und ich dachte mir jetzt endlich, ey, ich will mir das jetzt endlich anschauen und euch möchte ich natürlich daran teilhaben lassen. Erstmal ganz, ganz wild, ich feiere den Hintergrund geisteskrank, selbst hier oben das Mystery Dungeon Kekleon und so weiter, also wirklich geisteskrank cooler Schrank. Bisschen krass irgendwie, bisschen zu krass überfüllt, habe ich das Gefühl. Also hier ist so The Rune, die sind auch schon alle so. Ja, ihr wisst, was ich meine. Aber ja, ich würde sagen, wir schauen einfach mal das Ganze rein und dann werde ich ein bisschen was dazu sagen.
The Pokémon Company International and Nintendo recently invited me to play an early part of Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet.
Und jemand hat dort auch einen Shiny gefunden, aber ich glaube, das erzählt er gleich.
And within that, I got to experience much of what there is in the Paldea region, including finding the world's first shiny Pokémon in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet.
Ja.
So, here are my impressions of Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. So, sit down, relax, and listen to everything. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are the much anticipated 9th generation of Pokémon games, and following from a massive departure from the norm that was Pokémon Legends Arceus, people have been wondering if these games will be more akin to Pokémon Sword and Shield or the new style of gameplay from Pokémon Legends Arceus.
Also er fragt jetzt gerade, die Leute fragen sich halt, ist Pokémon Scarlet Violet eher Pokémon Schwert und Schild oder ist Pokémon Scarlet Violet eher so vom Aufbau her wie Legends Arceus?
Access to over an hour of gameplay, and we can tentatively answer that question. It is an amalgam of both and is showing signs of being.
Das dachte ich mir schon, ja. Es hat halt von beiden einfach Sachen, klar. Du hast einmal diese Overworld wie in Legends Arceus, finde ich, so kommt es mir auf jeden Fall vor. Und dann hast du halt einfach trotzdem diese lineare Story, die nicht wie in Legends Arceus halt spielt, sondern einfach wie ein Schwert und Schild mit Arenen und so weiter und so fort. Deswegen, ja, dachte ich mir das halt schon, dass sich das so entwickelt.
The most ambitious Pokémon title yet. We were let loose in the region of Paldea in the game shortly after the start. All three paths for the Gym Challenge of Victory Road.
Ich muss sagen, letztens habe ich, als ich Pokémon Schwert und Schild gezockt habe, bin ich ein bisschen durch die Städte und so durchgelaufen. Und da ist mir echt aufgefallen, dass ich Schwert und Schild eigentlich echt hübsch finde. Dementsprechend bin ich irgendwie, seitdem ist mein Hype für Karmesin Purpur wieder extrem hoch geworden.
Facing Team Star in Starfall Street or facing the Titans in the Path of Legends were made available to us, and we were told we could do whatever we want, take whichever
Junge, holy
path
shit.
that we want. This feels like a
Ach du
sign
Heilige.
of how the game truly is. It is a vastly open landscape. As all the paths were available to us,
Das ist schon echt geil, ne? Also so, wie flexibel man mit Miraidon ist. Das finde ich schon sehr, sehr cool.
did get flagged on the map, so you can easily go to whatever goal you desired at the pace in which you desire. This really gives players the choice of where to go rather than holding our hand and us being the passengers on the journey. That said, the characters do sometimes try to suggest that you go and do particular things, such as check on other characters to lead you to the other story points as you go through certain stories. For example, Nimona suggested that we check on Arven after we defeated the gym. Pokemon has been dabbling with open areas ever since 2016's Pokemon Sun and Moon, with the Pony Plains in Pony Island showing a small look at how the future may be. It then grew with the wild area in Sword and Shield, then the Isle of Armor, the Crown Tundra, and finally the Hisui region's 5 open areas in Pokemon Legends Arceus. The Paldea region really appears to be a final step into creating a big open world, and it really feels like it has hit the mark. We were only allowed in a small corner of Paldea, and that area itself was big. So often I found myself distracted from the main task just to see what was around the corner, up the cliffs, around the ridge. And I almost let the time that had been given to me run out before I hit any of the story paths because I was having such fun exploring and finding the Pokemon. That said, I eventually did take the Victory Road path and did the gym test of finding some flora throughout the town of Artisan.
Also er redet halt gerade über das, was wir jetzt schon wissen. Ne? Also es gibt halt diese verschiedenen Wege, die du einschlagen kannst. Du kannst gegen Team Star kämpfen, du kannst Arenaleiter Sachen machen, du kannst machen, was du willst. Und das ist halt sehr, 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 sehr cool, dass einfach der Spieler diese Barrierefreiheit hat, selber zu entscheiden, welches Abenteuer er zuerst bestreiten möchte.
When that was done, I started the battle against Brassius and went through the battle much in the way you would in prior games, but there's definitely more of a cinematic flair going into the battle, with small cutscenes showing more personality for the gym leaders than we saw in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Navigating the world works well. Unlike Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus, you have a mini-map in the bottom right-hand corner to help you keep your location and know where you're going.
Ich finde die Minimap unten richtig verwirrend. Ihr seht ihr gar nicht, weil meine Cam da drüber ist, aber ich finde, die ist so nichtssagend irgendwie. Also es ist halt einfach nur, also ich kann mich durch die Minimap, finde ich, nicht mehr orientieren. Vielleicht passiert dann irgendwas, höchstens die Richtung. Mit grün ist wahrscheinlich Norden, weil das so ein bisschen dicker ist. Aber.
Okay. And you can set up waypoints to make sure you're on the right path. Riding on
Ja,
was
okay.
a lot of fun and definitely sped up traversal, and it automatically shifted to
Ja,
climbing when
Norden
I
ist
needed
noch
it, and I
einfach
could
dran.
glide at any time. Pokemon are found sprawled around the field. You no longer have to go for specific.
Okay, ja, genau, das ist das. Man kann ja Pokémon so in Autokämpfe reinschicken. Wie wir das hier gerade sehen. Hat er in diesen Autokampf reingeschickt gegen das, ich glaube, es ist Felino.
Grass for random encounters, and as far as we can
Podex has been updated. Bellybolt defeated a Wooper. Das ging schnell und man bekommt Wooper Slime. Im Team sind, ich liebe diese Artworks hier von den Pokémon, muss ich gestehen. Bellybolt, Farigiraf, Sea Titan, Wiglet, Armarook und Lechonk. Aber Lechonk Level 3.
encounters no longer exist in the game. Instead, this is more akin to the Legends Arceus game, where they can be just about anywhere. They're not always just standing around waiting for you either, but you can see them sleeping or just going about their day.
Junge, man kriegt da echt viele Ressourcen.
I was over the field on Koraidon and looked down and I saw 2 Pokemon racing underneath me. And at one point, I walked across the field and saw 2 deerlings sleeping amongst the grass while some other Pokemon were flying behind them. Sometimes you will also see a group of 4 or 5 of the species of Pokemon together.
Er kann mehrere Pokémon gleichzeitig rausschicken. Das ist auch
There is a
wild.
catch to this though, as the wild Pokemon's interactivity is closer to Pokemon Sword and Shield than Pokemon Legends Arceus. You won't be running away from the Pokemon's attacks here to protect yourself, but at worst they will run at you to start the encounter. And that is how wild encounters primarily run. Much like in Pokemon Sword and Shield, if you walk into a Pokemon in the overworld, you'll start the wild encounter. But unlike Sword and Shield, you will not.
Und ich finde es richtig schwierig, ihm zuzuhören. Nicht, weil ich kein Englisch kann, nur weil er so schnell redet, Alter. Bruder, atme bitte kurz zwischendurch.
to a random backdrop. Instead, the world is seamless and you will even see the wild Pokemon and even other trainers or other player characters around in the background as you battle. And like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you can even move the camera around at will, but unlike
Das sieht richtig
Legends,
hübsch aus.
you cannot move your trainer character. There is also another way to start a battle. If you're close enough to a Pokemon, you can aim with the ZL button and throw a Pokeball to get your lead Pokemon out to start a battle. Targeting will show you the name of the Pokemon as well as its level, and if you can sneak up on it, especially by crouching, and catch it unaware, there will be a small boost at the start of a battle. But I was never able to activate that. We also saw a few wild
Ja, okay, ist halt ähnlich so ein bisschen wie in JRPGs, ne, wenn man sich so an Gegner ranschleicht und bevor man das Battle, den Kampf startet, dass sich halt ransneakt und dort dann rangeht und dann aus dem Hinterhalt quasi den Angriff eröffnet.
These
Quasi.
Pokemon will automatically terrestrialize in battle against you and offer a challenge. In addition to that, defeating them will earn you LP, which can be used for both.
Zur Terra-Kristallisierung kann ich auch schon was sagen. Ich weiß nicht, ob er es noch erwähnt, aber die Terra-Kristallisierung wird so sein, wenn ich mit Skelabra mein Skelabra terrakristallisiere in ein Wasser-Pokémon, dann habe ich immer noch Stab auf meine Feuer- und Geistattacken. Ich bin bloß ein Wasser-Pokémon. Das ist übel dumm. Das ist ultra dumm. Und ich sag's euch, wie es ist. Das wird im Competitive gebannt werden. Safe.
PM machine and even just purchasing items in Pokemon centers throughout Paldea. They'll have a special aura around them and you can see them from far away, so you can definitely tell when you're going into a wild Terra battle. Comparison would be more akin to the alpha Pokemon that you find in Legends Arceus roaming around the Hisui region. Trainers also fill out the overworld of Paldea, but unlike past games, you have to talk to them in order to start the battle. They will no longer spot you and force the battle to happen, which means if you do so wish, you can just basically skip every trainer in the Paldea region. They do have speech bubbles over their head, inviting you to battle as you approach, so you will know if there is a trainer ready for a battle. Items will also fill out the overworld, and you can see them from far away with various auras shooting up into the sky. You'll have a red aura for standard items and a golden aura for TM.
For 20.
There are also some hidden items. This helps the overworld feel more densely packed, so you won't go far without seeing something. Another change to the prior traditional main series Pokemon titles, but following on from Legends Arceus, is that the time of day and weather are no longer tied to a real-time clock. Instead, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has its own day/night cycle. Whether it's also another randomized feature in this game, taking more inspiration.
Oh, okay, das ist cool. Scarlet und Violet haben, glaube ich, als erste Pokémon-Spiele, ich glaube in Kristall war es auch noch so, aber ich bin mir nicht 100% sicher. Kann auch sein, dass es nicht so ist. Der Tag- und Nachtzyklus ist nicht an die echte Welt angelehnt. Das finde ich sehr, 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 sehr cool. Besonders wenn man Pokémon nachts oder tagsüber entwickeln muss. Das mag ich zum Beispiel auch in Xenoblade Chronicles sehr gerne. Dort kannst du jederzeit aus dem Menü heraus einfach einstellen, wie viel Uhr soll es jetzt gerade sein. Weil es halt immer unterschiedliche Sachen gibt. Es gibt Sidequests nur zu bestimmten Uhrzeiten und so weiter. Und das finde ich sehr cool, wenn man diesen Weg auch in Pokémon einschlägt.
From the date-based weather of Sword and Shield. For example, whilst I was playing, as I was approaching Artisan, shortly after it became night, a rainstorm hit, and unlike Pokemon Sword and Shield, the player character was constantly reacting to it. Whilst running through the town, the character was trying to shield themselves and their eyes from the rain so they could still see while running, which is a really nice small touch, which didn't exist in the prior Pokemon games. One of the things that the Pokemon community is constantly asking about is shiny Pokemon, and it is one which we were so lucky to confirm. Shiny Pokemon are, of course, back in this game, and much to our surprise, whilst we were playing through, we actually managed to get the world's first shiny Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet outside of Game Freak and the Pokemon Company. As I was climbing up a cliffside, I got to the top, and amongst all the Pokemon, I found a shiny Skidoo. That's right, continuing from Pokemon Let's Go and Pokemon Legends Arceus, shiny Pokemon are fully visible on the overworld, which is an improvement over Pokemon Sword and Shield where you wouldn't know until you started a battle. We aren't quite sure if there was a special cue, visual or
Also man sieht in der Overworld, ob die Pokémon shiny sind, wie in Legends Arceus.
Due to how we approached the shiny Pokemon, but it was really something to climb up there and find the shiny Skidoo. Unfortunately, I can't keep it, which sucks, but it's getting the first full-on shiny Pokemon in the game is an experience I will never, ever forget. Battle-wise, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet definitely align more with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Gorn's Legends Arceus' more simplified battle system with the agile and the strong styles of moves, and battles have returned to the more complex and full battle system of the previous main series titles. So your abilities and hold items and everything make a return, and despite that, battles are feeling much snappier and quicker than in Sword and Shield. Now, the animations are quicker and they feel, I don't want to say less cinematic, but the animations don't require your attention.
Finde ich aber, glaube ich, gut.
Terrestrialization certainly brings a new element to the battle.
Also, alles ist sehr smoother, es geht schneller, es passiert mehr, zack, 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 zack. Du hast zwar mehr von diesen Animationen, aber ich finde manche Animationen, auch Leftovers-Animationen und so weiter, die gehen ja teilweise jahrelang. Und ich glaube, alles, was schneller und smoother ist eigentlich immer ganz geil, ehrlich gesagt.
Can give you a nice boost or type change to make things more suited to you. I didn't get to try it out too much in a deep way, but there's definitely a damage boost if you're terrestrializing to the same type you already were. And needing to recharge the Terra Orb definitely feels like
kriegst aber einen Damage Boost, wenn du denselben Typen, den du schon besitzt, terrastrisalisierst.
In Pokemon Sun and Moon. However, some changes from Pokemon Legends Arceus have made it through. While you learn moves in a similar way to Sword and Shield, where if your Pokemon hits the level, it asks you if you want to learn the move, Scarlet and Violet does continue Legends Arceus' method of relearning and forgetting moves.
Sehr
gut. You can just do it from the menu at any time.
Oh, sehr geil.
You can also pull Pokemon out of your boxes at any time, just like in every game since Let's Go, Pikachu and...
Ist wie Legends Arceus, du kannst in deinem Menü deinem Pokémon sagen, ey, du brauchst keine Herzschwung oder sonst irgendein Shit, hier, erlerne jetzt die Attacke oder vergesst die Attacke oder whatever, alles aus dem Menü heraus.
Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. There's also a new feature where you can select the Pokemon and have it heal automatically using items from your bag to heal as required, which streamlines the process. The menus themselves have followed the streamlined process the game itself has. Now when you call up the menu with the X button, on the left you'll see your party and you'll be able to check their status, heal them and alter their moves on the fly, whilst on the right you'll get to have the bag, settings, save, and the Poke Portal, which is the game's method for connectivity. These are all visually striking and have a lovely style and goes with the more simplistic look, much like Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Pokemon Let's Go feature is also a fun thing to try out. If you send your Pokemon out into the overworld by throwing the Pokeball with the ZR button, it will follow you around, but you can press the button again to send it off in certain directions. This will let it get
das ist sehr
smooth,
das ist geil.
against other Pokemon. These are very
also, ihr könnt eure Pokémon rausschmeißen, dann laufen die euch hinterher, die kämpfen in der Overworld, aber ihr könnt mit einem einfachen Knopfdruck sofort euer Pokémon vor euch spawnen lassen, so wie das hier gerade eben war. Vielleicht sage ich es gleich nochmal.
These items have previously been used for crafting TMs at the TM machine at Pokemon Center, so being able to do this helps make it feel more streamlined for a potential grind. So you can just send the Pokemon out and get the experience rather than having to go through the battles very slowly. While you do need to
ich glaube, es ist so einfach zu overleveln.
Pokemon and it's not as automatic as it could possibly be.
Hier seht ihr es jetzt. Mit R quasi schmeißt ihr die direkt nach vorne.
Another small change is in regards to the trainer customization. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you have the ability to change much about your character's appearance, except for the hair, at any time during your adventure.
Das ist geil.
You can change the outfits, eye shape, and more without having to go to the Pokemon Center or a boutique. However, there is a massive amount of customization options that we saw, with boutiques allowing you to buy more clothes and hairdressers to change the hair.
Das
This
finde ich
time,
gut.
however, there are no restrictions. All players can have all hairstyles or wear whichever clothes they want, regardless of the looks they started with at the beginning of the game. Every trainer has access to everything. You can also use emotes at any time through the D-pad whilst on the overworld. This can be done for pictures, because you can take selfies with you and your Pokemon, or you and other players, and this is especially useful when you go into multiplayer and bring other players in through the Union Circle. Following the single player portion of the demo, we were given a chance to test out the multiplayer features of the game.
Ooh.
And multiplayer truly is a key aspect of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and frankly, it felt amazing. It is an evolution of what we saw in Pokemon Sword and Shield through the Wild Area, Crown Tundra, and Isle of Armor, where you can see the other players through your game. Now, this can be done with only up to 4 players at once, but it's such a nice thing to see because you can go on the adventure with your friends. And you can also organise battles, trades and raids and far more easier than the usual way, and notifications will come up on top if players in the same Union Circle are doing them. An excellent touch was being able to see what your friends were doing even if you were inside battle and they can see you. It's this sort of multiplayer interconnectivity that people have truly wanted. All other multiplayer modes are still present. You can still do link trades, battles, surprise trades, plus the already announced Battle Stadium and even Mystery Gift, all without being in the same Union Circle. Just like Pokemon Sword and Shield, this uses link codes, so each player has to put in the same link code in order to connect to each other. Terra Raid battles feel like a response to the feedback that they received from Pokemon Sword and Shield's Max Raid battles. These are faster, but are done in a way with the battle system in general. It's still turn-based, but you don't need to wait for other players to make their move in order to do your next one. However, there's still a bit of wait as it's not action-focused. Unlike Max Raid battles, there's also no shields to slow the battle down, but there was an element partway through the battle which adds an extra bit of protection. This protection can be done far more easier with moves from terrestrialized Pokemon. All Pokemon can terrestrialize in these raid battles, but in order to access it, you need to have multiple moves hit the opposing Pokemon first. This works as a way to keep the battles balanced. If all players are knocked out at the same time, or the time limit runs out, you will lose the battle. It may have been because this was a different battle system at first, but we actually lost our first raid battle in testing against a 4-star Cryogonal. This is definitely an exciting notion, as Max Raid Battles lost...
erstes Max Raid Battle, also hier nicht Max Raid Battle, hier den Terrestrialized Battle instant verloren.
Scarlet and Violet feels like it has so much potential to be a huge step forward of a franchise. There are so many surprises that have yet to be revealed, and if the potential holds throughout the game, Pokemon may have actually reached its new peak. We are so desperate to play more, to see what else there is in Paldea, and if a full game continues on what the small snippet we have played shows, then it is truly going to be an exciting time for Pokemon fans. Roll on November 18th. And I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this preview. And if you have liked this video, press the like button, share with your friends. And press the subscribe button. And be sure to follow Cerebi.net on all the social platforms for all Pokemon news. And until next time, see ya.
Wild. Klingt sehr, sehr, sehr wild. Also es macht auf jeden Fall Bock auf mehr. Der Multiplayer-Modus klingt sehr cool. Das freut mich. Das freut mich wirklich sehr. Terra-Kristallisierung klingt broken. Das freut mich nicht so sehr. Trotzdem habe ich Bock auf die Raids. Das ist, glaube ich, ganz funny. Ich habe ein bisschen Angst, dass die Story sehr einfach wird. Erstens durch leichtes Overleveln, durch diese... Natürlich muss man das nicht nutzen, aber ich finde es immer doof, neue Features zu haben und die dann nicht zu nutzen, nur weil es dann zu einfach wäre. Plus die Terra-Kristallisierung, aber die Gegner können halt auch Terra-kristallisieren, was halt auch interesting ist. Schon mal gut zu wissen, dass Mogelbaum sich zu einem Pflanzen-Pokémon terra-kristallisiert. Das ist echt broken. Aber ja, ich bin sehr gespannt, wie es halt auch mit EVs, DVs von den gegnerischen Arenaleitern und so weiter aussieht und wie einfach das Game schlussendlich sein wird. Ich freue mich darauf zu shinen. Das Einzige, was ich mich jetzt halt noch frage, wie ist es, wenn man mit 4 Leuten zusammen in der Overworld rumläuft und man sieht einen Shiny, kann es dann nur einer fangen? So, wisst ihr, wie ich meine? Das ist halt so das Ding. Aber gut. Ich hoffe, euch hat das Ganze gefallen. Wenn ihr auf jeden Fall sehr gerne positiv werdet und da, lasst gerne einen Kommentar da, in dem ihr mir erklärt, wie ihr die ganzen Erinnerungen findet und so weiter und so fort, ob ihr euch freut oder nicht. Ich finde es auf jeden Fall, es klingt sehr geil. Es macht auf jeden Fall Bock auf mehr. Lasst gerne ein Abo da, um keine weiteren Pokémon-Videos mehr zu verpassen. Ansonsten würde ich sagen, sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal. Macht's gut, Leute, und ciao, ciao.